The Power of Persuasion. Get what you want without resistance. Written by Ronnie Rowland. Published by Growth Literacy Lounge. Persuasion is a skill that shapes our personal and professional lives in countless ways. It's how we inspire teams, resolve conflicts, influence decisions, and build meaningful relationships. Yet, for many, the idea of persuasion carries a stigma. It's often associated with manipulation, coercion, or selfish motives. This book aims to shatter that misconception and reveal the true essence of persuasion and art rooted in empathy, integrity, and mutual benefit. This book is not about using slick tactics to force others to comply with your wishes. It's about learning to communicate so effectively, so authentically, that people naturally align with your vision. True persuasion respects the autonomy of others. It builds trust, fosters collaboration, and creates outcomes where everyone feels valued. At its heart, persuasion is about connection. It requires understanding human nature, reading emotional and social cues, and tailoring your message to resonate with the unique values and needs of your audience. Whether you're leading a team, negotiating a deal, or simply trying to navigate everyday interactions, the ability to influence others with integrity is one of the most empowering skills you can develop. In this book, you'll explore the principles of persuasion from every angle. You'll learn how to craft compelling messages, master nonverbal communication, and overcome resistance with patience and empathy. You'll discover the power of timing, adaptability, and questioning, as well as how to inspire and empower others through leadership and collaboration. Along the way, we'll address the ethical foundations of persuasion, ensuring your influence aligns with trust and authenticity. The journey to becoming a master persuader isn't about learning tricks or shortcuts. It's about developing self-awareness, practicing emotional intelligence, and cultivating an unwavering commitment to mutual growth. By the end of this book, you'll not only have the tools to persuade effectively but also the mindset to do so with respect and purpose. True persuasion isn't about getting what you want at the expense of others. It's about creating alignment, fostering harmony, and building a legacy of positive influence. Let's begin this transformative journey together. Chapter 1. The Psychology of Influence. Understanding the psychology of influence is the cornerstone of mastering the art of persuasion. At its core, influence is about understanding how people think, feel, and make decisions, then aligning your message with those processes. This chapter delves into the foundational principles of influence, providing actionable insights to enhance your ability to connect and persuade. Human decision-making is often less logical and more emotionally driven than we might like to admit. Behavioral psychologists have identified several cognitive biases, mental shortcuts our brains use to process information, that significantly impact how we perceive and decide. One powerful principle is reciprocity, the ingrained sense of obligation to return a favor. When someone gives us something, whether tangible or intangible, we feel compelled to give back. Marketers leverage this by offering free samples, knowing that recipients are more likely to buy their products in return. You can apply this by offering value up front in your interactions, perhaps through helpful advice, a kind gesture, or even your time. Another critical bias is scarcity, the idea that we value things more when they are limited in availability. This is why phrases like limited time offer or only 3 left in stock trigger immediate action. When persuading, emphasize the unique or fleeting nature of what you're offering, but ensure authenticity to maintain trust. Lastly, social proof demonstrates the human tendency to look to others when making decisions. We trust a restaurant with a line out the door or a product with glowing reviews. To harness this, showcase testimonials, endorsements, or case studies that validate your position or product. At its heart, persuasion often involves appealing to emotions. While logic informs decisions, emotions drive action. For example, fear, desire, or the promise of happiness can override purely rational considerations. A political campaign might appeal to fear your safety is at stake, or hope a brighter future awaits. Similarly, a fundraiser might elicit sympathy with stories of individuals in need. The key to using emotional triggers ethically is alignment with genuine benefits. If your product, service, or idea truly solves a problem or fulfills a need, connecting it to an emotional benefit strengthens its appeal. Trust is the foundation of influence. Without it, even the most compelling arguments fall flat. People are naturally skeptical of motives, especially when they feel someone is trying to sell them something. Building trust involves transparency, consistency, and demonstrating genuine care for the other person's well-being. Consistency in your actions and words reinforces credibility. If you promise to follow up, do so promptly. If you claim expertise, back it up with facts or experience. Over time, consistency fosters dependability, which is essential for long-term influence. The halo effect is a psychological phenomenon where positive impressions in one area influence perceptions in another. For example, an individual who appears confident and articulate may also be perceived as knowledgeable, even if their expertise is unproven. In persuasion, projecting confidence, positivity, and warmth can enhance how your audience perceives not just you but also your ideas. To incorporate these principles, start by observing your own decision-making processes. Reflect on when you've been influenced and why. Recognize the power of small gestures, acts of reciprocity, confidence-building behaviors, or creating a sense of urgency to create momentum in your interactions. Additionally, practice active empathy. Put yourself in the other person's shoes and consider what they value, fear, or desire. The more you understand your audience, the more tailored and effective your persuasive efforts will be. The psychology of influence reveals that persuasion isn't about overpowering someone's will but aligning with it. By understanding the mental shortcuts people use and building trust and emotional resonance, you can become a more effective persuader. These principles are tools, not for manipulation, but for creating genuine connections and mutual benefit. Chapter 2. Building genuine connections. Persuasion begins with connection. Genuine relationships form the bedrock of influence, making people more receptive to your ideas and aligned with your vision. But connection isn't built on flashy words or shallow gestures, it's rooted in trust, empathy, and emotional intelligence. Trust is the currency of influence. Without it, even the most persuasive message can feel hollow. To build trust, consistency is key. People need to see that your actions align with your words over time. A single grand gesture might impress, but it's your everyday reliability that solidifies your credibility. Another critical component of trust is vulnerability. Sharing your own struggles or admitting when you don't have all the answers can make you more relatable. For example, a leader who acknowledges challenges invites their team to trust them, not as a perfect figure, but as a genuine one. Vulnerability fosters openness and allows others to feel safe being honest with you. Empathy, or the ability to understand and share the feelings of others, is a cornerstone of genuine connection. When you demonstrate empathy, you validate the other person's experience and create a sense of mutual understanding. This lays the groundwork for influence, as people are more likely to trust and align with those who get them. To practice empathy, active listening is essential. Instead of planning your next statement while someone is speaking, focus entirely on their words, tone, and body language. Reflect back what you hear to ensure understanding. For example, them. I'm frustrated because the team isn't meeting deadlines. You. It sounds like you're feeling overwhelmed by the lack of progress. What can I do to help? This approach not only demonstrates empathy but also invites collaboration and solutions. Rapport is the bridge between two people. It's that intangible feeling of clicking with someone. One effective way to build rapport is by identifying shared experiences or common goals. This creates a sense of alignment and partnership. For instance, if you're meeting a new client and discover you both enjoy hiking, a quick mention of a favorite trail can establish rapport. While this might seem trivial, these small moments of connection build the foundation for deeper trust. Additionally, mirroring, subtly matching the other person's tone, pace, or body language can foster rapport. It creates a subconscious sense of familiarity and comfort. However, mirroring should be natural and respectful, avoiding any hint of mimicry. Emotional intelligence (EQ) is the ability to recognize, understand, and manage your own emotions while navigating the emotions of others. High EQ enhances your ability to connect because it helps you stay present, composed, and adaptable in any situation. For example, imagine a heated negotiation. A person with high EQ recognizes their own frustration and calms themselves before responding, ensuring the conversation remains constructive. At the same time, they can read the other party's emotions, perhaps noticing their impatience, and adjust their tone or pace to ease tension. True connection requires depth. People can sense when someone is being insincere or merely going through the motions. Superficial gestures, such as excessive compliments or forced enthusiasm, can backfire by coming across as manipulative. Instead, focus on authenticity. If you're praising someone, be specific and genuine. For instance, rather than saying "you're amazing," try "your ability to simplify complex ideas really stood out in that presentation." Specificity demonstrates attentiveness, which strengthens bonds. Practical steps to build connections. 1. Be present. In conversations, give your full attention. Put away distractions and focus entirely on the person in front of you. 2. Ask open-ended questions. Encourage others to share their thoughts and feelings. Questions like, "What's been on your mind lately?" open the door to meaningful dialogue. 3. Show appreciation. Acknowledge people's contributions and efforts, whether through words or actions. 4. Be consistent. Follow through on promises and commitments to reinforce your reliability. Genuine connections are the cornerstone of effective persuasion. By prioritizing trust, empathy, and emotional intelligence, you create a foundation where influence flows naturally. Connection isn't about manipulating others to get your way, it's about building relationships that empower mutual growth and understanding. Chapter 3. Crafting a compelling message. A well-crafted message is at the heart of persuasion. Whether you're delivering a presentation, negotiating a deal, or convincing a friend, the ability to communicate clearly and effectively can make all the difference. A compelling message doesn't just inform, it inspires, engages, and motivates. This chapter focuses on the key components of crafting messages that resonate deeply and leave lasting impressions. Clarity is the most essential element of a persuasive message. If your audience struggles to understand your point, they're unlikely to act on it. Before you speak or write, ask yourself, what is the core message I want to convey? Can I summarize it in 1 or 2 sentences? For instance, instead of saying, "This initiative has multiple benefits that could help us improve efficiency in many areas," simplify it to, "This initiative will reduce costs and save time." The second version is direct, actionable, and clear. Avoid jargon and overly complex sentences. Speak in terms your audience can easily grasp, tailoring your message to their level of understanding and familiarity with the topic. Humans are hardwired for stories. A compelling story engages emotions, captures attention, and makes your message more memorable. Incorporating storytelling into your communication allows you to create a personal connection and illustrate abstract concepts in relatable terms. For example, if you're trying to persuade a team to adopt a new workflow, don't just list its benefits. Share a success story. Last year, a similar team implemented this system and reduced project delays by 30%. Here's how it transformed their process. A well-told story has 3 key elements. 1. A relatable protagonist, someone the audience can identify with. 2. A conflict or challenge, the obstacle they faced. 3. A resolution, how they succeeded and the benefits they achieved. This structure helps your audience visualize the potential outcome of your idea or product. Vivid language can make your message come alive. Words that evoke sensory experiences, sight, sound, taste, touch, and smell, engage your audience's imagination and emotions. Compare these 2 pitches. 1. Our new product enhances flavor. 2. Our new product delivers a burst of zesty citrus and a touch of sweetness that lingers delightfully on your tongue. The second example is more engaging because it paints a picture that resonates with the senses. Use descriptive, specific language to help your audience feel connected to your message. A strong message has a clear beginning, middle, and end. 1. Opening. Grab attention with a question, a startling fact, or an emotional appeal. For example, did you know that poor communication costs businesses an average of $62 million per year? 2. Main body. Present your key points logically and concisely. Use data, anecdotes, and visuals to support your claims. 3. Closing. End with a clear call to action or a thought-provoking statement. For instance, by adopting this approach, we can save resources, boost morale, and achieve our goals faster. Let's start today. This structure ensures your message flows smoothly and keeps the audience engaged. A one-size-fits-all approach rarely works in persuasion. Different audiences have different priorities, concerns, and motivations. To tailor your message effectively, understand your audience. What do they value? What challenges are they facing? Address their needs. Highlight benefits that matter most to them. Use their language. Mirror their terminology and tone to create familiarity and trust. For instance, when pitching to a cost-conscious audience, focus on savings. When speaking to innovators, emphasize cutting-edge aspects of your idea. The most compelling messages include a clear call to action CTA. After presenting your ideas, tell your audience exactly what you want them to do next. Whether it's signing a contract, adopting a new habit, or visiting a website, make the next step obvious and achievable. A good CTA often uses action verbs and urgency. Join today to secure your spot. Start using this tool now and see immediate results. Crafting a compelling message requires clarity, structure, and emotional resonance. By using storytelling, vivid language, and audience-centric tailoring, you can transform ordinary communication into a powerful tool for influence. Remember, a compelling message isn't about impressing others, it's about connecting with them and inspiring action. Chapter 4. The Role of Nonverbal Communication. Words are powerful, but what you say is often less impactful than how you say it. Studies suggest that nonverbal communication, body language, tone of voice, facial expressions, makes up a significant portion of how messages are perceived. In Persuasion, mastering the art of nonverbal communication can mean the difference between being heard and being ignored. This chapter delves into how nonverbal cues shape perceptions and how you can align them to enhance your influence. Imagine delivering a heartfelt compliment with crossed arms and a monotone voice. Despite your words, the recipient might doubt your sincerity. This disconnect illustrates how nonverbal cues often outweigh verbal ones. People naturally rely on nonverbal signals to gauge trustworthiness, confidence, and emotional alignment. Nonverbal communication enhances persuasion by 1. Reinforcing your message. 2. Building trust through congruence between words and actions. 3. Helping you read and adapt to others' responses in real time. So your posture, gestures, and movements send powerful signals to your audience. Here's how to use body language effectively. Posture. Stand or sit up straight, but not rigidly. A confident, open posture, chest slightly forward, shoulders relaxed, signals authority and approachability. Avoid slouching, which can convey disinterest or lack of confidence. Gestures. Use purposeful gestures to emphasize key points. For instance, open palms suggest honesty and transparency, while steepling fingers can indicate confidence. Avoid fidgeting or excessive movements, as they can distract or suggest nervousness. Eye contact. Maintaining eye contact creates a sense of connection and trust. Aim for balanced eye contact. Too little can seem evasive, while too much can feel intimidating. When speaking to a group, make an effort to connect briefly with individual members. Your face is a powerful communicator of emotions. A genuine smile can convey warmth and approachability, while a furrowed brow might indicate concern or confusion. To align your expressions with your message, be authentic. Forced smiles or exaggerated expressions can come across as insincere. Let your natural emotions guide your facial cues. Mirror the audience. Subtly reflecting the expressions of your audience can foster rapport and show empathy. For example, if someone shares a concern, a look of understanding reassures them that you're listening. Stay engaged. Even when you're listening, your expressions matter. Nodding occasionally, or raising your eyebrows slightly shows attentiveness and encourages the speaker to continue. The tone of your voice can completely alter the meaning of your words. Consider the difference between saying "that's interesting" in a flat, sarcastic tone versus an enthusiastic one. The second conveys genuine interest, while the first might imply disinterest or doubt. To make your tone work for you, vary your pitch. A monotone voice can bore your audience, while variations in pitch can emphasize key points and maintain interest. Control your pace. Speak at a steady, deliberate pace. Speaking too quickly can overwhelm listeners, while speaking too slowly may lose their attention. Use pauses effectively. Strategic pauses can emphasize critical points, give your audience time to absorb information, and add dramatic effect. Persuasion isn't just about what you communicate, it's also about how well you interpret others' responses. By observing their nonverbal cues, you can gauge their level of engagement, agreement, or resistance. Engagement. Leaning forward, nodding, or maintaining eye contact often signals interest. Skepticism. Crossed arms, furrowed brows, or avoiding eye contact might indicate doubt or discomfort. Agreement. Mirroring your gestures or smiling in response suggests alignment with your message. When you notice signs of resistance, adjust your approach. Address concerns directly, clarify misunderstandings, or shift your tone to ease tension. Congruence between your words and actions is critical. When your nonverbal cues align with your message, your audience perceives you as authentic and credible. However, mixed signals like smiling while delivering bad news can create confusion or mistrust. To ensure alignment. 1. Rehearse important conversations or presentations, focusing on both content and delivery. 2. Record yourself speaking to observe and refine your nonverbal communication. 3. Seek feedback from trusted colleagues or friends on how your nonverbal cues are perceived. Mirror work. Practice speaking in front of a mirror, paying attention to your expressions and gestures. Video feedback. Record yourself during conversations or practice sessions to identify areas for improvement. Mindful observations. Spend a day observing others' body language in different contexts. Take note of what signals confidence, engagement, or resistance. Nonverbal communication is a powerful tool for persuasion, often speaking louder than words. By mastering body language, facial expressions, and tone of voice, you can reinforce your message, build trust, and adapt to your audience's reactions. True influence stems from a seamless blend of verbal and nonverbal cues, creating an authentic and compelling presence. Chapter 5. Overcoming resistance. Resistance is a natural response to persuasion. Whether it's skepticism, fear, or conflicting priorities, overcoming resistance is a crucial skill in the art of influence. The key isn't to overpower objections but to understand, reframe, and address them in a way that fosters trust and collaboration. To effectively overcome resistance, you first need to understand its roots. Common reasons include fear of change. People are often hesitant to step out of their comfort zones. Even when the benefits are clear, uncertainty can create a barrier. Mistrust. If the persuader's intentions are unclear or seem self-serving, skepticism naturally arises. Too much data, or overly complex ideas can overwhelm an audience, making them resistant to engagement. Competing priorities. When your goals don't align with the other person's, resistance may stem from a perceived lack of relevance or urgency. Recognizing these underlying causes allows you to address resistance with empathy and precision. One of the most effective ways to overcome resistance is by actively listening to the other person's concerns. This demonstrates empathy and shows that you value their perspective. When faced with objections, resist the urge to interrupt or argue. Instead, 1. Acknowledge the concern, validate their feelings. For example, say, "I understand why you might feel hesitant about this change. It's a significant shift from the usual approach." 2. Ask clarifying questions. Encourage them to elaborate. Questions like, "What about this feels most challenging to you?" can uncover specific barriers. 3. Summarize their perspective. Reflect back what you've heard. This ensures you've understood them correctly and builds trust. Active listening transforms resistance from a roadblock into a stepping stone for productive dialogue. Objections often stem from a limited viewpoint. Reframing helps your audience see the situation in a new light, turning challenges into opportunities. For example, objection. "This process seems too complicated." Reframe. "I see your concern. While it may seem complex now, once implemented, it will actually simplify your workload and save time." To reframe effectively. 1. Acknowledge the validity. Start by showing you understand their point. 2. Shift the focus. Highlight the benefits or address misunderstandings without dismissing their concerns. Reframing isn't about glossing over challenges, it's about presenting a broader perspective that aligns with their needs and goals. Resistance often dissipates when both parties feel they've gained something valuable. Collaboration is key to achieving a win-win outcome. To foster mutual benefit. Understand their priorities. What does the other person value most? Tailor your solution to address those priorities. Be flexible. Be willing to adjust your approach to meet their needs. For example, offering phased implementation can make large changes more palatable. Highlight shared goals. Emphasize how your proposal aligns with both your interests and theirs. For instance, by streamlining this process, we'll save resources, which helps both your team and the organization as a whole. Overcoming resistance is rarely instantaneous. Some objections require time, repeated exposure, or small steps toward agreement. Pushing too hard can backfire, making the other person dig in their heels. Instead, focus on gradual progress. Plant seeds. Introduce ideas gradually, giving them time to consider and process. Follow up thoughtfully. After an initial discussion, Revisit the topic with new insights or examples that reinforce your point. Celebrate small wins. Acknowledge incremental agreements to build momentum and confidence in your approach. Patience communicates respect, which can soften resistance over time. Your ability to navigate resistance hinges on emotional intelligence. A high EQ helps you manage your emotions, stay calm and composed when faced with objections, read emotional cues, identify when resistance stems from fear, frustration, or doubt. Adapt your approach. Adjust your tone, pace, or content based on their reactions. For example, if someone appears overwhelmed, simplify your message and offer reassurance rather than adding pressure. Practical techniques to dissolve resistance. 1. Preemptive empathy. Anticipate objections and address them before they arise. For example, you might be wondering if this change will increase your workload. It won't, and here's why. 2. Storytelling. Share relatable examples of others who face similar concerns and found success. 3. Offer choices. Giving options fosters a sense of control, reducing resistance. Overcoming resistance is about understanding and addressing the root causes of objections. By listening with empathy, reframing perspectives, and creating mutually beneficial solutions, you can turn skeptics into allies. Resistance isn't a barrier, it's an opportunity to deepen trust, refine your approach, and build stronger connections. Chapter 6. The Ethics of Persuasion. Persuasion is a powerful tool, but with great power comes great responsibility. The line between ethical persuasion and manipulation can be thin, yet it is critical to distinguish between the two. Ethical persuasion respects autonomy, fosters trust, and creates mutual benefit, whereas manipulation exploits vulnerabilities for selfish gain. In this chapter, we explore how to use persuasion ethically and align it with integrity and shared values. Ethical persuasion is grounded in honesty, transparency, and respect. It seeks to inform and influence without deceiving or coercing. The goal is not to win at someone else's expense, but to create outcomes where all parties feel valued and respected. For example, a salesperson using ethical persuasion might highlight how a product meets a client's needs, rather than exaggerating features or pressuring them into a quick decision. This approach builds trust, leading to long-term relationships, rather than one-off transactions. The hallmarks of ethical persuasion. 1. Truthfulness. Always present accurate information. Misleading claims may achieve short-term results, but they erode trust and credibility over time. 2. Respect for autonomy. Ethical persuasion empowers others to make informed decisions. Avoid tactics that manipulate emotions, such as fear, mongering, or guilt-tripping. 3. Mutual benefit. Seek outcomes that provide value for all parties. Persuasion becomes unethical when it prioritizes personal gain at the expense of others. To discern between ethical persuasion and manipulation, consider intent and methods. Intent. Are you trying to genuinely help, or are you prioritizing your own agenda? Ethical persuasion arises from a place of service and problem solving. Manipulation stems from selfish motives. Transparency. Ethical persuasion is open about its goals and methods. Manipulation relies on deception or withholding critical information. Respect. Ethical persuasion respects boundaries and the right to say no. Manipulation seeks to override resistance, often using pressure or emotional exploitation. For instance, a leader using ethical persuasion would invite feedback and address concerns openly, whereas a manipulative leader might dismiss dissenting opinions or use intimidation to force compliance. Integrity is the cornerstone of ethical persuasion. When people trust you, they're more willing to listen, engage, and collaborate. Trust is earned through consistent actions that align with your words. Ways to build trust include consistency. Follow through on promises. Even small commitments, like responding to an email promptly, reinforce reliability. Accountability. Own up to mistakes rather than deflecting blame. Transparency about challenges or limitations demonstrates authenticity. Empathy. Show genuine concern for others' needs and feelings. When people feel understood, they're more open to your ideas. Empathy ensures your persuasive efforts remain ethical. By considering how your actions affect others, you can craft messages that align with their values and priorities. For example, if a colleague resists adopting a new process due to workload concerns, empathy involves acknowledging their struggle and proposing solutions, like offering additional support. This approach respects their perspective while guiding them toward change. Avoid overstepping by checking in with yourself. Are you pushing too hard? Are you listening as much as you're speaking? Are you focusing on their needs, or just your own? Practical tips for ethical persuasion. 1. Be transparent about intentions. Clearly explain what you're asking for and why. For example, instead of saying, "This will benefit the team," specify how. "This tool will help us save 2 hours per project, freeing up time for innovation." 2. Provide balanced information. Share both the pros and cons of your proposal. This builds credibility and demonstrates respect for the other person's ability to make an informed choice. 3. Encourage questions. Dialogue to ensure clarity and address concerns. 4. Respect boundaries. If someone says no, honor their decision without resentment or pressure. This shows maturity and reinforces trust. Ethical persuasion thrives on mutual benefit. When crafting your approach, consider what's in it for them. Ensure your proposal addresses their needs or solves a problem. How can I reduce resistance? Offer compromises or alternative solutions to make agreement easier. Am I being fair? Balance your own goals with the well-being of others. For example, a manager persuading a team to adopt a new tool might highlight how it simplifies workflows benefit for the team and improves overall productivity benefit for the organization. While manipulation might offer immediate gains, it undermines relationships and credibility. Ethical persuasion, on the other hand, builds lasting trust, loyalty, and respect. It transforms one-time interactions into meaningful, ongoing connections. When you prioritize integrity, your influence extends beyond individual moments. People remember how you made them feel and are more likely to align with you in the future. Ethical persuasion creates a ripple effect, empowering others to adopt similar principles in their own interactions. Persuasion is a skill that requires responsibility and care. By staying truthful, empathetic, and focused on mutual benefit, you ensure your influence aligns with integrity and creates positive, lasting impact. Ethical persuasion isn't just about getting what you want, it's about fostering relationships and building a legacy of trust. Chapter 7. Timing and Adaptability. In persuasion, the right message at the wrong time is likely to fall flat. Timing and adaptability are critical components of influence, ensuring that your message resonates and aligns with your audience's readiness to act. This chapter explores how to recognize opportune moments, adjust your approach in real time, and leverage flexibility to maximize your persuasive power. Timing isn't just about luck, it's about reading the situation and understanding when your audience is most receptive. A well-timed message can make all the difference in whether someone says yes or hesitates. Consider the following scenarios. A proposal during stress. If your colleague is overwhelmed with deadlines, introducing a new project may seem like an added burden. Waiting until they're more relaxed ensures a better reception. Celebrating momentum. Timing a pitch when enthusiasm is high, such as after a successful milestone, can amplify its impact. To master timing. 1. Observe context. Pay attention to external factors like mood, environment, and priorities. 2. Be patient. Sometimes waiting for the right moment is more effective than rushing your message. The best time to persuade someone often aligns with their emotional and cognitive state. Look for signals that indicate receptivity. Body language, open posture, engaged expressions, or nodding suggest they're attentive. Emotional state. If they're in a positive mood, they're more likely to view your proposal favorably. Timing of day. Energy and focus levels fluctuate throughout the day. For instance, many people are more receptive in the morning when they feel refreshed. By aligning your message with their readiness, you can enhance its effectiveness and reduce resistance. Adaptability is the ability to adjust your strategy based on real-time feedback. No matter how well you prepare, unexpected reactions or challenges may arise. Flexibility allows you to pivot and maintain influence, even in the face of obstacles. Here are steps to remain adaptable. 1. Stay attuned to feedback. Watch for verbal and nonverbal cues that signal agreement, confusion, or resistance. 2. Adjust your tone. If your audience seems defensive, soften your approach. If they're disengaged, use a more dynamic tone to recapture their attention. 3. Reframe your message. If an objection arises, reframe your idea to address their concerns. For instance, objection: This sounds too expensive. Reframe. I understand your concern. Let's look at how this will save costs in the long run. When persuading a group, adaptability becomes even more crucial. Group dynamics can shift rapidly, and different members may have varying priorities or objections. To manage group settings effectively, gauge key decision makers. Identify individuals whose opinions carry the most weight and tailor your approach to address their concerns. Encourage participation. Involve the group by inviting questions and fostering dialogue. This builds engagement and minimizes resistance. Adapt to group energy. If the group seems fatigued, break your message into smaller, digestible parts or inject humor to revive attention. Strategic pauses can enhance both timing and adaptability. When you pause during a discussion or presentation, you allow your audience time to process your message. Create space to observe their reactions. Signal that you're listening and open to dialogue. For instance, after asking a thought-provoking question, pausing for a few seconds gives your audience the opportunity to reflect and respond thoughtfully. Not every attempt at persuasion will succeed, even with perfect timing. Adaptability also means knowing how to pivot after rejection. Instead of viewing a no as final, see it as a step in the process. To handle rejection constructively. 1. Ask for feedback. Understanding why they declined can help you refine your approach. For example, I'd love to hear your thoughts. What concerns you most about this idea? 2. Stay positive. Keep the door open for future discussions. A polite and understanding response leaves a lasting impression. 3. Learn and adjust. Use the experience to fine-tune your timing and messaging for future opportunities. Practical tips for mastering timing and adaptability. 1. Test the waters. Before diving into your main pitch, gauge the audience's readiness with a smaller, low-stakes conversation. 2. Be flexible with your agenda. If the conversation veers in an unexpected direction, follow it while gently steering back to your point. 3. Practice active listening. The more you understand your audience's current state, the easier it is to adjust your approach. 4. Prepare for scenarios. Anticipate potential objections or mood shifts and plan how to address them in real time. Timing and adaptability are essential tools in the art of persuasion. By recognizing opportune moments, staying attuned to feedback, and being flexible in your approach, you can navigate challenges and optimize your influence. Persuasion is not about rigid strategies, it's about fluidity, meeting your audience where they are and guiding them forward with confidence and care. Chapter 8. The Power of Questions. The ability to ask the right questions is a cornerstone of effective persuasion. Questions do more than gather information, they shape discussions, reveal priorities, and guide others toward your desired outcomes. In this chapter, we'll explore how strategic questioning can deepen understanding, uncover needs, and build alignment. Questions shift the focus of a conversation, putting the other person at the center. This fosters engagement and encourages collaboration. A well-timed question can clarify doubts and assumptions, encourage introspection and self-discovery, redirect conversations toward productive outcomes. Build rapport by demonstrating genuine interest in the other person's perspective. For example, instead of asserting this is the best solution for your team, ask, what challenges does your team face that this solution could address? This shifts the dynamic, empowering the other person to participate in the process of persuasion. Different types of questions serve unique purposes. Understanding when and how to use them is essential for steering conversations effectively. 1. Open-ended questions. These invite elaboration and encourage dialogue. They're excellent for uncovering needs, motivations, and concerns. Example: what are your main priorities for this project? Impact. Open-ended questions provide insight into the other person's perspective and foster a sense of collaboration. 2. Closed-ended questions. These elicit specific responses, such as yes or no. Use them to confirm details or guide decisions. Example: would you be able to meet the timeline if we provided additional resources? Impact. Closed-ended questions clarify commitments and boundaries but should be balanced with open-ended ones to avoid stifling dialogue. 3. Probing questions. Probing questions dig deeper, encouraging the other person to expand on their initial responses. Example: can you tell me more about why that approach didn't work in the past? Impact. These questions help uncover underlying concerns or hesitations, allowing you to address them effectively. 4. Hypothetical questions. These encourage creative thinking and exploration of possibilities. Example: what would success look like if budget constraints weren't an issue? Impact. Hypothetical questions can break through perceived limitations and open the door to innovative solutions. 5. Leading questions. These subtly guide the conversation toward a particular conclusion. Use them sparingly and ethically to avoid appearing manipulative. Impact. Leading questions can reinforce alignment, but overuse can erode trust. Asking questions is only effective when paired with active listening. The goal is not just to hear the answers but to understand the emotions, motivations, and needs behind them. Listen without interrupting. Give the speaker time to express themselves fully before responding. Reflect and clarify. Paraphrase their answers to confirm understanding. For example, so you're saying that streamlining the approval process would make this more feasible? Show you're listening. Use verbal nods like I see, or that makes sense to encourage continued dialogue. When people feel heard, they're more likely to trust you and consider your perspective. The way you frame a question can significantly impact the direction of the conversation. Consider these approaches. Positive framing. Highlight opportunities rather than problems. For example, how can we make this process more efficient? Is more empowering than why is this process so slow? Future-oriented questions. Encourage forward thinking. For instance, what steps can we take to ensure this project's success? Keeps the focus on solutions rather than past mistakes. Inclusive questions. Use collaborative language like we or us to foster teamwork. For example, how can we make this plan work for everyone? Practical exercises to enhance questioning skills. 1. Prepare in advance. Before a discussion, brainstorm potential questions based on your goals and the other person's perspective. 2. Practice active listening. Engage in a conversation where your sole focus is asking questions and reflecting their answers. Avoid offering opinions. 3. Analyze successful conversations. Reflect on past interactions where questions led to productive outcomes. Identify what worked and why. In a team meeting, what do you think is the most critical factor for achieving our deadline? During a sales pitch, how do you see this solution fitting into your current workflow? In conflict resolution, what would need to happen for you to feel comfortable moving forward? These questions not only encourage dialogue but also position you as a collaborator rather than an adversary. Questions are one of the most effective tools in persuasion, fostering dialogue, uncovering needs, and guiding others toward alignment. By mastering the art of strategic questioning and pairing it with active listening, you can create conversations that are not only productive but also deeply engaging. The power of questions lies in their ability to shift focus, uncover truths, and inspire collaboration, building bridges that lead to meaningful, lasting influence. Chapter 9. Persuasion in Negotiation and Leadership. Persuasion is a critical skill in negotiation and leadership, where influencing decisions, resolving conflicts, and inspiring action are essential. Whether you're leading a team or closing a deal, the ability to align diverse perspectives and foster collaboration is invaluable. This chapter explores how to apply persuasion techniques effectively in these high-stakes contexts while maintaining integrity and mutual respect. Negotiation is often seen as a tug-of-war, but successful negotiators view it as a collaboration. The goal is to create win-win outcomes where all parties feel their needs are met. Persuasion plays a pivotal role in achieving this balance, allowing you to guide discussions while respecting the other party's interests. Key principles of persuasion in negotiation include: 1. Preparation. Understand your own objectives and anticipate the other party's priorities and potential objections. 2. Building rapport. Start by establishing trust and finding common ground. For example, a simple shared interest or acknowledgement of their concerns can set a cooperative tone. 3. Framing offers effectively. Present your proposals in a way that highlights mutual benefits. For instance, instead of saying, "This approach will work better for me," frame it as, "This approach will streamline communication for both of us." 4. Active listening. Show genuine interest in their perspective, using phrases like, "I see where you're coming from, can you tell me more about that?" Listening can reveal underlying motivations, helping you craft solutions that resonate. Leadership requires more than issuing directives, it's about inspiring and motivating others to willingly follow your vision. Persuasion helps leaders connect with their teams, build trust, and foster a sense of shared purpose. Strategies for persuasive leadership include 1. Articulating a clear vision. People are more likely to rally behind a leader who communicates a compelling vision. Use vivid language and relatable examples to make your vision tangible. For example, instead of saying, "We need to meet our Q3 targets," try, "Imagine what we can achieve together if we exceed our Q3 targets. Greater resources, recognition, and opportunities for all of us." 2. Empowering others. Persuasion in leadership involves enabling others to see their own potential. Delegating responsibility and acknowledging contributions fosters trust and loyalty. 3. Modeling desired behavior. Leading by example strengthens credibility. If you expect accountability or innovation from your team, demonstrate those qualities yourself. 4. Using emotional appeals. Effective leaders understand the emotional drivers behind behavior. For instance, appealing to a team's desire for growth, recognition, or impact can inspire action more effectively than logic alone. Overcoming resistance in high-stakes situations. Both negotiation and leadership involve navigating resistance. Here's how to address it constructively. Acknowledge concerns. Validating objections shows empathy and prevents defensiveness. Frame objections. Shift the focus to opportunities. For example, "I understand that adopting this tool feels like extra work initially, but it will save time and reduce errors in the long run." Use incremental steps. Break larger requests into smaller, manageable commitments. This reduces overwhelm and builds momentum toward agreement. The language you use can significantly impact the tone of negotiations and leadership interactions. Collaborative language fosters unity and reduces perceived adversarial dynamics. For example, replace "you should" with "we could." Use "us" and "are" to emphasize shared goals. Avoid absolutes like "always" or "never," which can escalate conflict. For instance, instead of saying, "You didn't follow through on this task," say, "How can we improve the process to ensure everything stays on track?" Persuasion in negotiation and leadership requires striking a balance between assertiveness and flexibility. Being too rigid can alienate others, while excessive compromise may weaken your position. To find this balance, be clear about non-negotiables. Know which points are essential and where you're willing to compromise. Stay open to alternatives. Encourage creative problem solving by asking, "What other solutions might work for both of us?" Maintain composure. Emotional outbursts can undermine your credibility. Practice staying calm, even in high-pressure situations. Practical tools for persuasive negotiation and leadership. 1. The yes ladder. Start with small agreements to build momentum toward larger commitments. 2. The reciprocity principle. Offer something of value to encourage goodwill and cooperation. 3. Role reversal. Consider the situation from the other person's perspective to better address their needs. 4. Storytelling. Share relevant stories that illustrate your point or demonstrate successful outcomes. In negotiation, a supplier reluctant to lower prices might respond to this approach, "If we can agree to a lower rate now, we're willing to commit to a longer-term contract that benefits both of us." In leadership, a manager persuading a team to embrace a new workflow might say, "I know change can be challenging, but this tool will eliminate redundant tasks and free up time for more meaningful work. Let's try it for a month and review the results together." In negotiation and leadership, persuasion is not about dominance, it's about collaboration, clarity, and adaptability. By listening actively, framing ideas constructively, and using inclusive language, you can foster trust and alignment. Whether you're closing a deal or inspiring a team, the art of persuasion allows you to guide outcomes while empowering others to feel invested in the process. Chapter 10. Building a legacy of influence. True persuasion goes beyond winning arguments or achieving short-term goals. It's about leaving a lasting impact. A legacy of influence is built on trust, respect, and consistent value. When you focus on creating genuine connections and fostering mutual benefit, your influence extends far beyond individual interactions, shaping a positive reputation and inspiring others to follow your example. A legacy of influence is rooted in 3 key principles. 1. Authenticity. People trust and respect those who are genuine. Authenticity means staying true to your values and aligning your actions with your words. 2. Consistency. Influence grows when people can rely on you over time. Consistency in your behavior, tone, and approach reinforces your credibility. 3. Contribution. Influencers who focus on giving rather than taking create meaningful and memorable interactions. Providing value, whether through guidance, support, or inspiration, leaves a lasting impression. Most impactful influencers don't just seek to achieve their own goals, they empower others to reach theirs. By fostering growth and development in others, you multiply your influence and create a ripple effect of positive change. Ways to empower others include mentorship. Share your knowledge and experiences to help others navigate challenges and achieve their aspirations. Recognition. Celebrate others' successes and contributions, making them feel valued and motivated. Support. Offer encouragement and resources, even when it doesn't directly benefit you. For example, a manager who mentors their team not only enhances individual performance, but also creates a culture of trust and collaboration that strengthens the entire organization. A legacy of influence isn't built on dominance or outshining others, it thrives in collaboration. When you prioritize collective success over individual accolades, you create environments where everyone can flourish. Strategies for fostering collaboration include shared goals. Frame objectives in terms of shared outcomes. For instance, instead of saying, "I want to achieve this," say, "Together we can accomplish this." Inclusive decision making. Involve others in key decisions to make them feel heard and invested in the outcome. Creating synergy. Highlight how each person's unique strengths contribute to the larger vision. Collaboration not only amplifies your influence but also builds networks of trust and loyalty. Your reputation is the enduring reflection of your influence. A strong reputation is built through intentional actions and consistent behavior over time. To cultivate a positive reputation, 1. Lead with integrity. Always prioritize ethical behavior, even when it's challenging. 2. Deliver value consistently. Make it a habit to exceed expectations, whether in personal interactions or professional commitments. 3. Be accessible. Influence isn't about being unreachable, it's about being approachable and responsive. A solid reputation makes people more likely to listen to you, trust your intentions, and align with your vision. Stories have a unique ability to leave lasting impressions. When you share stories that illustrate your values, lessons, and achievements, you create a personal connection that endures. Craft impactful stories by focusing on authenticity. Share real experiences that reflect your journey. Highlighting growth. Include challenges you've faced and how you overcame them. This makes your story relatable and inspiring. Ending with a lesson. Leave your audience with a takeaway they can apply in their own lives. For example, a leader sharing how they navigated a difficult decision fosters trust and provides a blueprint for others facing similar situations. Influence is not static, it requires ongoing growth. The more you learn, adapt, and evolve, the more your influence expands. To continue growing, seek feedback. Regularly ask others how your actions and messages are perceived. Stay curious. Embrace lifelong learning by exploring new ideas, cultures, and perspectives. Adapt to change. Be willing to adjust your approach as circumstances and audiences evolve. An influencer committed to personal growth inspires others to do the same, creating a culture of continuous improvement. A true legacy of influence extends beyond personal achievements. It's about creating systems, relationships, and ideas that endure and benefit others even in your absence. Ways to ensure lasting impact. Develop leaders. Focus on nurturing the next generation of influencers who can carry forward your principles, create scalable solutions, design initiatives or processes that can sustain and grow without your direct involvement. Contribute to the greater good. Align your influence with causes that uplift communities and improve the world. For instance, an entrepreneur who mentors others and advocates for social responsibility leaves a mark that goes beyond their business success. Building a legacy of influence requires authenticity, consistency, and a focus on empowering others. By prioritizing collaboration, fostering trust, and committing to growth, you create a ripple effect of positive change. True influence isn't about control or dominance, it's about creating meaningful connections and contributing lasting value. When your actions inspire others to lead with integrity and purpose, your legacy of influence becomes an enduring force for good. Take care and be well.